Cuba. A country where people achieve their wishes, or rather dreams reach people. According to a UNESCO study, it is the most desirable place to visit in the world. There are many reasons to be happy in this country. Cuba has such an interesting life that it is as if you are in a completely different world, in another time. If you're wondering what Cuba doesn't have, let's start there first. There is no unemployment. Everyone is guided according to their ability while studying. There is no more than 3 out of 100 differences between people's salaries. That is, the deputy and the waiter receive the same salary. Parents are not worried about who their children will become. Caring for children is very important in Cuba. There is no discrimination between children. Women should be engaged in sports, health, and child rearing during pregnancy. All types of education are equal and completely free, as the state takes care of the child born. There is no homeless person sleeping on the street. In America, the most developed country in the world, 4 million homeless people live on the streets. But there is no person in Cuba whose residence is not provided free of charge by the government. There are no people who smell like sweat. Soap, shampoo, deodorant, perfume, and personal care products are provided free of charge by the state every month. There is no fear of being scammed. All shops and enterprises are owned by the state. The state pays the salaries of working waiters and laborers, as they are considered civil servants. Since the prices are set by the state, you have no chance to be deceived or mistaken. And all products are free to some degree for Cuban citizens. When you exceed the limit, you can buy what you want at a very cheap price. There is no money. Yes, you heard right. The highest salary is 30 euros. Most people consider it even unnecessary, because generally everything is free. If you want, the government sends you on a family vacation every year to a place of your choice around the country. 22% of the country's territory is protected natural areas. In every country of the world, there are luxurious restaurants and entertainment centers that the rich can go to, but the poor cannot. But you can enter anywhere in Cuba. There is no discrimination. Since money is not used in the country, an employee or a doctor can easily go to the same restaurants and spend time in the same entertainment centers. Children don't even get a pen until they finish university. No hospital fees or travel expenses. The state distributes 2 kilos of red meat per person every month, and 8 kilos of meat per month for a family of 4. All food products are organic. For this reason, it is forbidden to create a chicken farm. Chickens are raised naturally in gardens. Hormones are not used at all. No domestic violence. Male or female couples face punishment starting from 5 years for the slightest physical harm they inflict on each other. There is no concern for health. This structure, built in this island country with a population of 12 million, fascinates all the inhabitants of the planet. Cuba ranks first in the world in the field of medicine. The fact that the average life expectancy is 78 years is proof of this. 50,000 doctors work in the country. They provide free medical care not only in their own country, but in all South American countries and even in many poor countries in Africa. No divorce. Instead of dealing with unnecessary documents such as money, property, goods, and alimony to be shared in a divorcee, they can celebrate their marriage as a wedding. Cubans do not have official marriages. Houses with backyard gardens are provided free of charge by the government to farmers starting a new family. Domestic violence is very rare, because people are happy because they don't have financial problems. Electricity and water are free up to a certain limit. The social support of people living in Cuba is incredibly high. They attach incredible importance to nature. If you hurt any stray animal or cut down a tree without a permit, you could face serious charges. The state regularly distributes food to all stray animals. All stray animals have an ID card. These ID cards worn on collars contain information such as the animal's date of birth, name, health status, sex, and region of residence. People will not worry about making money or making a living. And since there is no economic competition, you will not see billboards anywhere. Working hours no more than 6 hours a day, regardless of where you work. People can focus more on their family and social life. Dance, music, and entertainment are an important part of life. Everywhere is full of entertainment venues and street artists. People of all ages spend a significant part of their day singing or dancing at parties. All entertainment venues are owned by the state. The entertainment lasts 24 hours a day, 365 days a week. Most of the population is engaged in some kind of sport. Baseball is the most popular sport in Cuba. Cuban streets are full of colorful old cars. Although buying a car is free, people prefer old retro cars. The highest car price is already 100 euros. For paying 2 euros a month, the government gives you the type of car you like. It's been a few years since Cuba opened its doors to the world. Not even an animal that harms people lives on the island of Cuba. There is not a single poisonous plant. However, until a few years ago, America considered Cuba to be the most dangerous country in the world. Washington claimed that Cuban politicians had nuclear weapons, and in 1953, the dictatorship was overthrown after a long resistance by a rebellion started by Fidel Castro and including Che Guevara. It is interesting. Despite 600 assassination attempts by the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency on the leader of the revolution, Fidel Castro, none of them were successful. After the revolution, all U.S. goods and companies were communalized. Profits were distributed across the country, and economic reforms were implemented. Cuba is a country where diverse religions, races, and nationalities live together in peace and fun. Cuba is the only country in the world where people are not discriminated against based on the color of their skin. There is no article in the Constitution stating that the religion of the state is this. People's religions and religious rights are not interfered with. Cuba has many beautiful beaches. Beach areas have been declared a national park by the state. The average monthly salary in Cuba is 12 USD. Free clothes are distributed to workers. Cuba has one of the most nationalized economies in the world. The sugar industry is a major part of the Cuban economy. Milk is distributed free of charge by the state to children up to 6 years of age. It is one of 2 countries in the world where the sale of Coca-Cola has been officially banned since 1961. Cuba is one of the few countries with the highest literacy rate, 99.8%. You should know that if you go to this country with US dollars, the exchange rate will be 18%. US debit cards are not valid in Cuba. Reading is mandatory in cigarette factories in Cuba. A feature of the same factories is that the workers read newspapers and books to their employees until the end of their working hours. The term of military service is 2 years, and women can volunteer for military service if they wish. The first train of Latin America was launched in Cuba. Cuba is the country where the United States has been paying $4,085 a month in rent for the Guantanamo prison since 1903. Because of these maximum living conditions offered to people, some call Cuba the paradise of our world, even the state of the 22nd century. And all this was possible against the backdrop of 57-year US embargoes. Cuba is an example to the world that a small island nation has gone beyond the basics and achieved this.